Arriving 2 years after its debut on last and current-gen PlayStation hardware, Horizon Forbidden West Complete Edition on PC is another successful outing for Sony's PC push, both in terms of the quality of the game and the port. There have been a handful of small post-launch patches, but even at launch it demonstrated a level of polish that was severely lacking in the PC port of Horizon Zero Dawn. It also benefits from being a significantly better game, taking Guerilla Games' inspired but formulaic concept and expanding the size of the world, the scope of the narrative, and the mechanical depth. When you throw in the substantial Burning Shores post-game expansion and a lower price point, it's a great package for PC gamers. I'll start with a brief overview of the sequel, as I'd recommend it, even if, like myself, you lost interest in Horizon Zero Dawn before the end. The rampant Hades AI was seemingly defeated at the Spire, and both Meridian and the surrounding tribal lands are safe again, for a time. Robots reprogrammed to be hostile to humans remain a threat, while the damage to the biosphere has triggered the spread of a red blight, infecting plants before entering the rest of the organic food web. This sets Aloy on a quest to find a functioning backup of the Gaia AI, but that task becomes complicated when she discovers her supposed ally Silence stole a copy of Hades before fleeing into the titular Forbidden West, where she also encounters survivors from humanity's distant past after the same goal. From a gameplay perspective, Horizon Forbidden West is more of the same, just the significantly improved structure and access to a liberating traversal option near the endgame for completionists. You'll still be moving through settlements that Aloy feels compelled to aid despite her pressing quest. You'll stalk robots in the overworld, stealth stabbing small ones from conveniently placed patches of grass and picking apart massive ones by targeting weak spots and removing components. You'll collect an inordinate amount of plant life, animal products, and techno junk to craft specialized ammunition and upgrade Aloy's gear. With each level, you'll earn points to sink into one of 6 skill trees that allow you to tailor your approach. Think stealthy predator or resilient brawler, while forays into techno tombs unlock new abilities. Both the minute-to-minute gameplay and progression systems are satisfying, but a sense of familiarity and repetition sets in quickly if you're someone who systematically clears regions before moving on. What Horizon Forbidden West does much better than its predecessor is structure each story mission so they feel less like running between open-world markers, following the focus scanner like a trained lab rat. They also dig deeper into the history of the world, without forcing you to stand around listening to piles of audio logs. This does mean long cutscenes and more restrictive walk-and-talk sessions at times, but these are interspersed with more varied stealth scenarios, dramatic platforming sequences, and spectacular boss encounters. If you're someone who can focus on the main story and side quests, without fixating on a map full of icons, it can feel like a classic wide linear cinematic action game, just with really impressive backdrops. What remains somewhat underdeveloped are a few flashpoint moments that allow you to better define Aloy's personality, and, in the Burning Shores expansion, her romantic interests, but these choices ultimately have no impact on how the overarching story plays out. When it comes to the PC port itself, it's all positive so long as you didn't expect the implementation of newer technologies like ray trace shadowing and reflections. Expansions aside, Horizon Forbidden West started life as a cross-generation project, and that comes with tangible advantages for anyone with an older PC, to the point you can scale it down to the level of an already stunning-looking base PS4 version. For those with newer PCs, you can instead push the native resolution and frame rate far higher than the PS5, with cleaner upscaling options and frame generation. You can also enable ultra settings for an insane level of environmental detail, and refine post-processing effects, just never to the level it looks fundamentally different to the PS5 quality mode settings. There are all the visual settings you'd expect, like native resolution targets, several VSync targets based on your display, and multiple upscaling options that can adjust the quality level on the fly to maintain a target frame rate. You can select between 5 presets, from very low to ultra, or tweak visual settings on a granular level while observing the outcome in real time. Texture, shadow, and reflection quality are easy targets to boost performance. You can tweak a half-dozen environmental details like terrain, water, cloud, and crowd quality. And then there are more aesthetic options like field of view, HDR levels, motion blur, sharpening, and even ultra-wide 21:9 and 32:9 support for cinematics and or gameplay, with black bars if you've got a 16:9 or 16:10 display. Load times were excellent on an NVMe SSD, and the shader pre-compilation step meant I only experienced slight pauses when transitioning between regions during cutscenes, never during gameplay. In addition to the common audio-visual settings, Horizon Forbidden West offers extensive accessibility options that cover the visuals, audio, gameplay assists, and both control schemes, mouse and keyboard or gamepad. Oh, and there's full support for DualSense haptic feedback and adaptive triggers if you're using one for PC gaming. For reference, my 2021 gaming laptop has a 3.3 GHz i7 processor, an 8GB RTX 3070, 16GB of DDR4 3200 RAM, and an NVMe SSD, with the CPU and GPU running at lower clock speeds and power draw than the desktop counterparts. Despite that, I was still able to choose between 1080p 60 on my monitor or 4K 30 when hooked up to my TV, both using high settings. Of course, there was some help from DLSS temporal upscaling and a VRR display, but it was a far cry from last year's Ratchet & Clank rift-apart PC port that was both unstable at launch and brutal on older CPUs, with or without ray tracing features enabled. So wrapping up, Horizon Forbidden West Complete Edition is an excellent feature-complete PC port. If you game on both PC and PS5 already, there's probably not enough of a technical leap here to warrant buying the PC version if you prefer couch gaming and console features. If you only game on PC, this port is well worth your time and money, and you don't have to worry about the same technical issues Horizon Zero Dawn had at launch. If, like me, you played Horizon Forbidden West on PS4 before moving to the PC this generation, it's a great way to re-experience the base game at PS5 quality levels, and gain access to the next-gen only Burning Shores expansion, though I wish they'd just unlock it from the start for those who played the base game already. If you've got this far, please consider giving the video a like and maybe subscribing to our channel, as it helps us grow.